Hi, welcome to my short video on compliance versus resilience. By now, I'm sure that you've picked up that I have a very important message to get across. And the fact that you're here means that you have the success mentality. I think I'm going to shock you today, but in a good way, of course. In this video, I'm going to reveal some golden information to you about why only specific industries are classified as permitted services. I'm also going to show you some very valuable information about governmental and global strategies, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, so you'll have to listen very carefully. And I'm going to show you how you can use this information to your advantage to get ahead of the economy. I've also got a surprise for you, which involves a free gift when you watch this short video up until the very end. I'll show you how to obtain this gift, plus I'm going to show you how to qualify for another absolutely value-adding incentive. How does that sound? I think it's a pretty special deal. Are you ready for this? Right, let's go. Have you noticed that only specific role players have been releasing and continuously providing and updating COVID-19 directives, guidance and rules? Yes, our governments have been working around the clock to stay on top of this, of course. But the strategies and policies seem to be driven from certain sources only. Now, I know that what you might be thinking, but allow me to explain. Let's have a quick look at some secret clauses in the latest COVID-19 legislation. And if you're watching from elsewhere in the world, you'll find that the exact same principles actually do apply. I'm just using the South African version. The first one is from the Disaster Management Act 2002, amended regulations including Chapter 4 Alert Level 3, specifically Regulation 46.7a. The relevant sector or industry body, if such a body exists, must, in the event of high health risks, develop sector-specific health protocols, which must include provision to limit the spread of COVID-19 in the sector concerned and provide for those circumstances where a firm cannot operate staggered working hours or provide transport for its employees. The phrase I want you to remember is sector-specific health protocols. Next, we're looking at the Consolidated COVID-19 Direction on Health and Safety in the Workplace, Clause 10. This direction recognizes that there are sector-specific measures that need to be taken into account, and accordingly provides for sector guidelines to supplement this direction. Then Clause 18 talks about the return to work plan that must have specific inclusions, and then Clause 18.6 mentions the workplace protective measures required to be taken in terms of this direction and any sectoral guideline to get the workplace COVID-19 ready. The current sectoral guidelines are the generic requirements across sectors, and you can download it from the relevant link below. Lastly, we're looking at Clause 60 of the same direction. Sectoral or industry associations must, in the event of high health risks, develop sector-specific health protocols in consultation with the Department of Health to limit the spread of COVID-19 in the sector, including providing for those circumstances where a firm within the sector cannot stagger working hours or provide transport for its employees. So, what are these sector industry bodies and trade associations that they're talking about? These are organizations and councils, usually non-profit, that exist to provide specialized knowledge, guidelines and codes of practice to specific industry sectors. Some industry sectors have trade associations that are very involved, and there are some industries where no trade associations exist yet. Then in countries like South Africa, where most of the public services are government owned, there are specific departments for those industry sectors headed by their respective ministers. For example, the Department of Transport, headed by the Minister of Transport, Minister Balula Fikile. I mean, look at the construction industry. Those guys have already released specific guidelines through local health and safety institutions, because that industry is replete with committees, councils, trade associations and registration bodies, meaning they are organized. The industries, including government-owned sectors, that are the most organized have sectoral guidelines and specifications and have developed the required health protocols. and are thus permitted services. The difference is that the protocols of the permitted services have been approved by the relevant party. I've included a link below where you can view and download all the current approved protocols in South Africa. So the industry bodies and trade associations do have a vital role to play here. The industry codes of practice and standards have always been developed and established by the relevant trade associations, so it should come to no surprise. But it is a very transparent indicator on how lagging some industries have been toward occupational health and safety and the enforcement thereof. The truth is, the governments around the world need our help to develop the relevant health protocols, and they've now given us a directive and opportunity to do it. Another imperative is self-regulation and not business as usual. This means that you as a business owner, director, or risk manager have the opportunity to become an industry leader and help your industry to survive. How? Well, by not only complying to the basic requirements and generic guidance given as a minimum effort. It's not complete, it's not tailored, and it's not future-proof. Continuous improvement is key here. It requires business leaders to become industry leaders by tapping into the necessary resources to become risk resilient. Of course, this would help to develop the health protocols required for that industry. For the first time, it also means to look after your competitors to survive. Thus, risk resilience exceeds mere compliance because you set the bar for your industry to future-proof your business. So how does it apply to us and how does it work? Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, we have to include the focus on developing health protocols for the sector industry into your COVID-19 policy and objectives. COVID compliance audits must be conducted before, during, and after the implementation of the COVID-19 Return to Work plan to ensure the project remains goal-oriented and to collect and provide the required information to develop these health protocols to the industry bodies, trade associations, and the Department of Health. Now here's the real shocker. Remember, the governments are giving the private sectors the opportunity to come to the table right now. If we don't do this properly, and if we don't do this right now, what do you think will happen to the private sector in the future? Governments are already providing grants and relief funds to enable businesses around the globe, provided that they comply to specific protocols. If the private sector cannot sustain itself by decreasing the number of COVID-19 cases, many industry sectors will become redundant and governments will be forced to provide new protocols and infrastructure for the remaining industry sectors to sustain the economies. I really hope you understand what that means and the gravity of this message. Okay, so here's the deal. We are giving away free risk-resilient COVID compliance audits with every COVID-19 Return to Work plan until the end of June this year. This is a limited time offer only, and after June, these compliance audits will be sold separately. Click on the link below that says Get COVID Compliant Now to get your free COVID compliance audit with your COVID-19 Return to Work plan and start your journey to risk resilience and ultimately freedom. On top of that, I'd like to give you a free COVID-19 risk assessment procedure. To get the procedure, you can subscribe to our mailing list by clicking on the subscribe button below. If you found this information of value, kindly share this video to all businesses that you know of, because even if you don't need these services, you can do your part. You can still do your part by creating awareness to those who actually do need it. See you on the click side.